everyone, it's Americans14 here with Sadie, my Webkinz signature Australian Shepherd, and I have a question for you. Have you ever felt like no one understands you? Because I have. I have Asperger syndrome, which makes me feel kind of misunderstood sometimes. Today's video is another autism-related video, and it has to do with the symptoms or traits of Asperger syndrome. Bear in mind that these traits are what I personally struggle with, so I'm hoping you guys relate to this. So yeah. Learn more about my diagnosis. There's a video, link in the description below, and this list is, like I said before, about symptoms of Asperger syndrome. So this list is in completely random order. This is just what I personally deal with. So yeah, let's get started. What I have trouble with is social interaction, and it has a lot of different factors which I'll try to briefly summarize, but one of the things is that we've never been taught how to act socially correct. Everyone else out there in the world other than Aspies understand how to act normal, like what is appropriate and what's not, whereas Aspies, we don't have that default setting. We are just super confused on it. We get confused on nonverbal communications like facial cues and hand gestures and body language. I just get confused with that so much. We also take things literal, which means we don't really understand jokes. Sometimes I understand jokes, but not all the time. And I'm terrible at small talk. I could care less about small talk because that's just kind of boring and I just don't really care for it. I'm already socially awkward, as you probably noticed. We have poor eye contact. My eyesight isn't the greatest, but one time I'd be talking to someone, looking at them for a second, looking away, and then glancing back at them a second later. Like, it just goes that way and I don't even notice. We don't even understand people's emotions when we're talking to someone. Now, I understand if some extreme emotions, like when they're extremely angry or extremely sad, I understand that. It's just when they don't give us hints on what emotion they were conveyed, it's like, what emotion exactly are you feeling right now? What am I supposed to be feeling? And with all that kind of stuff, all of those struggles, Aspies have trouble making friends. And I have trouble making friends sometimes. But once I make friends and have good friendships with them, I'm pretty much friends for life. So, and a lot of Aspies also have more online friends than IRL friends. And I kind of consider that me as well. I mean, a lot of my friends are family, but I tend to have a lot of online friends like you guys. You guys are, my online friends, and I like that. Of Asperger's is sensory issues. I have a lot of sensory issues. I mean, not a lot, but you get it. Sensory issues to food, textures, sounds, all types of different things. All those senses you can have sensory issues with. And for me, I'm a super picky eater. Like, I don't like pretty much anything unless it's like a certain way or whatever. And with textures, I prefer certain types of clothes. Like, I prefer polos or graphic tees rather than dresses or skirts. And with sounds, loud sounds kind of get me rattled up a little bit. Even when I was younger, and probably still to this day, I cover my ears when I'm around fireworks because it just is too loud for me to handle. And when there's so many sounds going on, if I'm going to a huge crowded place, I already don't do good with crowds, if you know me in real life, but that can cause sensory overload, which is basically your brain is just being overstimulated, overwhelmed with senses, and you're just bombarded by stuff. You can't focus, you can't think, you can't do anything. It's crazy. And sometimes sensory overload can actually progress into what's called a meltdown. I'll explain what meltdowns are in a little bit, but meltdowns they're really hard to stop once you get there. So it's just really, really crazy. That I have trouble with a lot is difficulty with changes and transitions. Now, I love routine. Routine is like the best because there's order, there's no chaos, everything is the way that I like it. I have a lot of routines in my life. I like the same things. I like going to this place at this time. I tend to get up at the same time, tend to go to bed at the same time, watch the same stuff, because it just keeps me happy, and I like it. I like routine. But sometimes when I'm pressured into changes, I can not be so good with, and my routine gets ruined when I have to do this sudden thing that's like out of nowhere. Like, oh yeah, I was gonna make a video today. Oh, sorry, nope, I have to go to the store to get something. And that just freaks me out. I can't handle that because I was thinking, yeah, today I'm gonna make a video, but nope, I have to go to the store. It's like, that ruined my entire day, and now I'm just gonna be off the entire day. And when I get super anxious and just kind of jittery and whatever, that is what causes meltdowns. Like I said, meltdowns are caused by sensory issues like sensory overload, or they can be caused by stress, at least for me. This one example that I have of a meltdown was back in October 2017, so last October. My family and I went to this prayer meeting in Washington, D.C., and that was my first time seeing it. I'm a huge history buff. I freaking love all the U.S. history and stuff, so I was excited to do some sightseeing. Anyways, we were at the Lincoln Memorial, and we were walking everywhere, which I had no idea I had to walk that much. It exhausted me so much. And my couple of my friends, my mom and I, we were gonna stop. Super tired of walking, and I couldn't handle it, and I had to sit on the ground, and I didn't like sitting on the ground, so I legit had a full-on meltdown in front of them, in front of my friends, and in front of my mom. I had a huge meltdown. I was screaming. I was like, I don't want to sit on the floor. I just want to eat my food. I just want to do this. I just want to do that. I just want to get out of here. This is stressful for me. I can't handle this. That was literally how I felt. And when a meltdown happens, you can't really stop it. Now, in that case, I had to just wait it out. I couldn't do anything. I was just too focused on that. It was insane. That's an extreme case of a meltdown. Sometimes, meltdowns can be a couple minutes to super long. If I'm freaking out or whatever, it's easier to cope with once I calm down. One of the best ways to calm down during a meltdown for me is pacing back and forth when I'm nervous, especially if I'm talking to myself. So, for example, if I was stressed about doing homework versus playing a video game or whatever, and I just kind of had a meltdown because everything was stressing me out, it's okay, so I need to do my homework, yet I want to do video games. Okay, which one should I do? Okay, I feel like homework is more important. Yeah, I really want to do video games, but I know if I do video games, my mom's gonna be mad at me, and so I'm gonna do my homework. So that's how I solve my meltdown problems, is figuring it out, thinking it through, pacing back and forth, because pacing just helps me to think more clearly and stuff. Symptom I'm gonna talk about is obsessions. I have a lot of obsessions, guys, and a lot of the times I'm able to hyperfocus on a lot of these things. Hyperfocus is a term used for Aspies when they can focus on something for a really long time, like an absurd amount of time. I can hyperfocus on making videos, watching YouTube, and pretty much anything. And all of the topics that I get super interested in, they become obsessions. Some of my obsessions are electronics, technology, Revolutionary War, which is, U.S. history, dog breeds, Hamilton, among a bunch of different fandoms and stuff. And those are some of my interests. So go ahead and let me know in the comments what your obsessions and interests are. I'd like to know if we have any of them in common. Well, that's pretty much the entire list. I hope I got through everything. But these are symptoms that I personally dealt with on a daily basis. It's challenging and not really fun, but it does give me a chance to get out of my comfort zone, which apparently I need a lot of that. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section. So, yeah, that is my video on Asperger syndrome symptoms. So, hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!